Good morning, everyone, and welcome to First Take. Carrie Champion here with the fellas. It's Skip Bayless to my left and Stephen A. Smith to my right.
How are you?
What's going on, my man?
Next time I see you, we will be face to face in Los Angeles.
In Los Angeles. We're coming LA. Get ready.
I prefer to call it La La.
Oh, do you?
It's just me.
Okay.
It's just me. No pun intended for Mrs. Anthony. Just I'm talking about Los Angeles.
Yeah,
La La.
it's just
That's
La
what
La
the sports writers always called it, La La.
All right, well, we're ready. I'm leaving immediately. You guys aren't leaving right now.
No. We know you'll be there.
Right away. Coming up on today's show, Germany beat Brazil in historic fashion in World Cup play. Yeah, and you roll crazy.
That was a beat down. That was a beat down.
We talk about that. We definitely react. Plus, NFL MVP odds are out, and you might be surprised at who tops the list, or you may not. We will talk about it. And, of course, NBA free agency. The waiting game continues, and that's where we start today's show. Where will LeBron James land? We do know that, according to our Chris Broussard and multiple reports, LeBron James is expected to have a meeting with the Heat president. That's Pat Riley today in Las Vegas, where James is running his Nike basketball camp. James' representatives have met with several teams, but this is reportedly LeBron's first face-to-face. So Stephen A. Smith, it's Pat, it's LeBron, a few close friends. How's that meeting go?
Listen, Pat Riley doesn't have to schmooze with LeBron James and recruit LeBron James as an individual. What Pat Riley has to do is show LeBron James what the blueprint is, what the plan is moving forward. LeBron James knows that the Miami Heat are a first-class organization. He has exceptional relationships with Pat Riley, with Eric Spoelstra and the whole crew, Andy Ellsberg, all of these guys. He knows how the Miami Heat operates. You know, he may not always like every little minute detail or whatever the case may be, but who does? Nobody likes everything their bosses do and say and what have you. But that doesn't mean it isn't a fantastic place to work. And so Pat Riley doesn't have to sell LeBron James on the Miami Heat organization. He doesn't have to sell LeBron James on himself, who he is and what he stands for. What he has to sell LeBron James on is, well, what you gonna do if D. Wade's knees continue to erode, or if he continues to find himself in a situation where he can only give us, you know, 2/3 of a season? What are you going to do to help us maintain competitiveness while not taxing me and my body and cutting my career short because of the mileage that I have to put on my body with what I'm being subjected to? How are you going to be able to surround me with the parts necessary? Because even though it isn't entirely the fault of Pat Riley, it's Mickey Harrison not wanting to really tinker too much into that luxury tax. Remember, it's punitive damages. It's the third consecutive year you'll be over that luxury tax number, which is why, you know, you got a cap on the amount that you're going to be allowed to spend. All of this stuff, all of the minutia that's just too complicated to get into on national television in this short of a period. But in the end, what Pat Riley has to convince LeBron James of is the future roster he is going to be able to assemble. There's nothing else that he has to do. He doesn't have to mend fences with LeBron. He doesn't have to schmooze with him where, you know, I got to remind you that I love you. He doesn't have to do, you know, sell the Miami Heat organization or anything like that. It's just about the roster he's going to be able to assemble for years to come. And one last point, Skip. He also, this is the toughest part that nobody has brought up. Recently, as months ago, I was told that Pat Riley might not be around in a year or two, that he may end up walking away. He's done it. He's been there. He's done it. And he's winding down to the point where, you know, the end could be drawing near. Yeah. Well, we know that Mickey Harrison leaves a lot to his son, Nick, who's an astute dude and a great guy, by the way.
Who reportedly will be, are you hearing he'll be at this meeting?
You know what? I haven't read the reports. I don't care. I can't imagine that he wouldn't be. Okay. Because he's everywhere his father is, and his father's everywhere the team is. You know, they're practically every game. So I expect Nick and Mickey to be there, the Harrisons, along with Pat Riley. All right? And all I'm saying to you is that if Pat Riley is gone in 2 years, you're asking LeBron to commit for how long? See, these are the kind of questions.
Okay. Before I say what I'm about to say, and then ask you what I'm about to ask you, allow me to say I think LeBron James is loving this. I think he is playing it for all it's worth, and I do not condemn or criticize that. I applaud it. LeBron James has become the most marketable athlete, at least in this country. You could make a case for the world. And this is a rare opportunity for LeBron to milk this, to play this for all it's worth, and let it go for a while, because there are no apparent leaks that we know of coming out of the camp so far. I know you have your sources, but so far nobody seems to know exactly what's going on. I've heard no definitive reports from anybody, because I think LeBron is trying to play it, and his team is trying to play it as close to the vest as possible, which is shrewd operating. Sure. Because they are getting incredible attention and publicity out of this. Brian Windhorst has made the case that LeBron is the most coveted free agent ever. I'm sure you can make that case. He's obviously, to me, the best player in the game still, even though his team just lost by a record margin in the NBA Finals. I won't dwell on that.
Please don't.
I won't. But I will say that I believe LeBron, who can be a drama king, is going to play this for a while, for all it is worth. And again, I applaud that. Now, back to cases here. I want to know, is this meeting for real or for show? And I'm going to ask that again because I'm not sure about it. If your hypothesis yesterday, and I have gone along with this all week, and some of this has been my hypothesis, that there is a master plan in place, that they have had discussions before, that very, very possibly they are hoping, if not encouraging, Chris Bosh to take the max deal, to leave Miami, to go to the Rockets, so that it would clear the decks for one Carmelo Anthony. This cannot be the first meeting. I can't buy it for 1 second. Chris Broussard wrote on .com, I just read it again just to make sure I had it in my head, that this is the long-awaited face-to-face. Okay, have they not had any phone conversations? Yeah. Was LeBron completely out of the loop on Josh McRoberts and Danny Granger? I mean, completely out of the loop, like, oh, LeBron read it on .com just the way we read it on .com. Yeah. Really? I can't buy it. I'm sorry, I don't see it. There has to have been some discussion, cell phone discussions, face-to-face in Miami over the last 3 weeks.
If those are not rhetorical questions and they're legitimate questions, I sincerely hope you're not looking at me as if I'm the one that's put that out there.
No, I'm not, but I need you to put this in some perspective.
Let me put it to you in perspective. They do what they do. Whatever insiders, whether it's for this network or other networks, they do what they do. I do what I do.
Okay.
All right? I have never for 1 second believed that LeBron James has never had a conversation with Pat Riley.
Thank you.
Pat Riley does not operate that way.
Right.
Pat Riley is the president of the Miami Heat. Pat Riley and the Miami Heat pride themselves in being a family organization. Now, he may not have pressured LeBron. He may not have bugged LeBron or anything like that. But don't tell me that the great Pat Riley, a champion as a coach, a champion as an executive, an ultimate and master motivator, is going to sit idly by and allow, even if it is the greatest player in the world today, that he's going to sit by and allow anybody to reduce him to being one of the many. You know, that's begging for your services. It's one thing to be a part of the mix while you're trying to recruit somebody to come on board that you have no relationship with. It's another thing entirely to extend yourself to that level when you have been presiding over this organization and this particular individual for the last 4 years, that you're largely responsible, along with mostly Dwayne Wade, but you're still largely responsible for 4 straight trips to the NBA Finals and 2 NBA championships. Pat Riley, the Pat Riley that I know, the Pat Riley that everybody in this league knows, the Pat Riley that Magic Johnson knows and others, there is no way that he would allow himself to be reduced to, you know, coming to Vegas and begging for your services, that, you know, sort of along the lines of a Dan Gilbert or somebody. That ain't happening, okay? No. So, of course, I've never believed. They can talk about this first face-to-face. Well, this is the final salvo. I can believe that.
Okay.
But let's keep in mind that LeBron lives in Miami. LeBron has played for Miami.
Thank you.
LeBron reported to work for
You're
the last
welcome.
4 years.
You're welcome.
And this is the first meeting between Pat Riley and LeBron. That's ridiculous.
You agree.
I've never believed that.
You agree with Skip. Like, this is not their first.
I've never believed that, and I never will.
Okay, so
right.
you use the word blueprint. This is Pat Riley's turn to say, here's the blueprint in case Dwayne can never be D-Wade again. Stephen, I believe those conversations have already taken place. The blueprint is in place in LeBron's psyche. He knows, they've talked. To me, this has to be a little more for show than for real. I'm sorry.
The only thing I am prepared to say definitively is that LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony have talked on several occasions over the last year. And in a perfect world, and we don't know if that perfect world exists this summer. In a perfect world, they would love to play together. And that is clearly on Carmelo Anthony's mind. That is what I'm prepared to say. I don't care who you can. If this was back in Roman days, you could get Greek gods to sit there and refute what I'm saying. I'd still tell them to kiss off.
The Roman gods or the Greek gods?
Whatever.
Whatever.
Roman, Greek, whatever.
They're
different. I don't know the difference. All I'm telling you, I don't watch Game of Thrones. I should.
Fine.
But the point that I'm trying to make to you, is very, very simple. I stand by what I reported months ago.
I stand by what you reported. I am with you.
And LeBron would like to play together.
That's
all I'm going to say.
Okay, so let's go down our checklist now. The fact that Carmelo Anthony has committed to nobody, even the New York Knicks, is a little surprising to some people. Is it surprising to one Stephen A. Smith?
No.
No. Okay, because some people anticipated Monday Carmelo would announce.
And
it is now.
Remember when you came to me Monday?
Wednesday.
And you said they're reporting that there was a meeting and Melo's going to make a decision. And I said to you, there's no decision that's coming before Wednesday or Thursday. And that it may not even be then. And I was told that LeBron may take as much as until next week to make a decision. I was told that as well. So you combine that with Chris Bosh getting the max offer from Houston and waiting to see what transpires there, and the fact that there has been no decision made by LeBron and Carmelo, connect the dots.
Connect the dots, okay? Chris Bosh, next on the list. Is LeBron waiting for Chris Bosh to decide, or is Chris Bosh waiting for LeBron to decide? That's a key question to this equation.
And is Bosh talking to LeBron?
Well, listen, they're probably talking to one another. At least they have spoken to one another.
Would you term them close?
Not as close as D-Wade and LeBron.
Well, obviously.
Not as close as D-Wade and LeBron. I'm just telling you this. Here's the best way I can put it for you. Replace Bosh with D-Wade. If D-Wade had gotten a max offer from Houston, a healthy Dwayne Wade, a max offer from Houston, they'd pretty much know what they're going to do right now. There would be no waiting. In other words, Dwayne Wade and LeBron James would be in sync with one another. There wouldn't be any speculation as to what's going to happen. They would already know because they have that kind of relationship. The fact that we're even questioning, is Bosh waiting for LeBron or is LeBron waiting for Bosh, tells you all you need to know. It's not to say, first of all, Chris Bosh is impossible not to like. He's an incredibly nice guy.
I agree.
He's very smart. He's a skilled player. I think that he deserves a hell of a lot more credit than he has received, particularly for the sacrifices that he made, because his game is actually better than we've seen. It's just that he's been a third wheel, and he's had to make those sacrifices and adjustments. But in the end, it is clear that the relationship that LeBron and D-Wade have with one another is different than the relationship Bosh has with either.
All right, so explain this. If the master plan is indeed for LeBron wanting Carmelo to wind up next year in Miami, South Beach, then where is the X factor that is Chris Bosh? Are they gently encouraging Chris to go ahead and take that huge max offer at age 30? Go ahead and take your money, Chris?
That's my personal belief is that is what they want. Now,
I'm with you on
that. To show respect to LeBron, to D-Wade, to Pat Riley and the Miami organization, they would categorically deny such a thing. They would tell you that Chris Bosh is their guy. They love him. They went to 4 straight finals with him, won 2 championships with him. The Miami Heat would tell you they want him to stay. I personally believe, and in the interest of full disclosure,
sure,
the parties involved, not all of them, but some of them, I have called liars to their face about this, because when they've said that, I said, that's a damn lie.
All right.
Don't tell me you don't want Melo more than you want Bosh.
I agree with
that. Now, the question is that you don't know whether or not definitively Melo would come because of the financial sacrifice you're asking him to make. And under that premise, you would prefer a sure thing as opposed to a question mark. But in terms of players, if you knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that Melo is itching to come to Miami, no matter the price, okay, and all it took was for Bosh to leave, could you go, please, man? Go take this money, Max, in Houston. That is exactly what the Miami...
You cannot tell me...
I don't care what they say. And I've told people within the organization, I've told players, I've told confidants of the players, that's a damn lie if you tell me otherwise. I don't believe it.
Okay.
I don't believe it.
And I don't believe that Carmelo doesn't yet know his own heart. I believe, money aside, he wants
New York, Miami.
But he wants to play in Miami with LeBron. Heart of hearts, because he's an older player.
He's not making it.
Yeah.
No, the issue, you're clearly right. He clearly wants to play with LeBron.
Sure.
But if Melo could play with LeBron in New York for the max dollars of $129, he'd prefer that.
Okay, but
as opposed
that's not
but that's the
realistic.
problem. I know that, but I'm saying to you,
Okay.
he wants to play, but the challenge, the trepidation with most of these guys is the money they have to sacrifice.
All right.
Because let's say, for example, if Chicago could offer what the Knicks could offer, or Chicago would be in the mix.
Right.
The problem with Chicago is money.
Sure.
That's the problem. And so the problem with the Lakers is not having enough for both to max.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So when you're talking about them making the monetary sacrifice, that's why you can never etch it in stone until it's done.
Okay, I'm going to say again, this is my personal gut feeling.
Yeah.
Just you could call it an uneducated guess if you like. I do not see LeBron James going back to Cleveland with this roster. If you told me there is a guaranteed deal in place for Kevin Love to wind up in Cleveland, for Andrew Wiggins and whatever else, again, I read these speculative reports about this, then I'd say, okay, I get it. But if the roster stays pretty much intact as is, I cannot see any realistic way that LeBron James at this stage of his career would say, I choose to go home to play with that roster. But again, Brian Windhorst is anticipating that by next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that LeBron will make a visit face-to-face to Cleveland, where clearly, unless I'm wrong about this, they have a brand-new coach, and I don't think LeBron knows him. I might be wrong.
Doesn't.
Okay, so he needs a face-to-face if he's going to seriously consider Cleveland with that coach and that new GM there.
Well, what I can tell you is that the reports are correct when they say Cleveland is being given strong consideration. He's not joking. He's not bluffing. I reported this last summer, if you remember, and you were like, wow, you're serious? I said, look.
You shocked me with that
I said Cleveland is number 2 on the list.
You said that.
And that's exactly where they are right now. But I also said a few months later, Melo and LeBron have been talking, and that Melo would love to play with LeBron, and LeBron would love to play with Melo. The other thing that I wrote on ESPNNewYork.com, and I've said this repeatedly on the radio, but I don't recall saying this at least ad nauseum here, is this. I'm going to remind everybody. Back in 2006, when I had my show, quite frankly, on ESPN2, Melo came on the show. He had an opportunity to opt out in 2010, like LeBron, D-Wade, and Bosh had done. Melo elected to go with the 5 years, $80 million guarantee from the Denver Nuggets. LeBron and those boys had been imploring him, make yourself available for the class of 2010, and Melo went with the guaranteed money. I get hurt tomorrow. Anything could happen. I'm going to go with the $80 million guarantee. So what happened? He ended up not being a member of that class, and he regretted it.
Yeah.
Because you got to remember, here's the key to all of this. He was the original preference for the big 3. It was supposed to be LeBron, Melo, and Wade.
Sure.
Not LeBron, Bosh, and Wade.
I get it.
So now that you look, especially when you consider what happened against San Antonio and the rout that just took place in the NBA Finals, I ask you a question, Skip, and I'll throw this out to you just for entertainment purposes.
I'm the entertainment on
you
this.
are the
No. This is seriously. If Carmelo Anthony were on the Miami Heat, does that series end in 5 games?
No, but the Spurs win in 6 games.
Okay, right.
I'm not backing off.
To me, it would have been probably a 7-game series.
Okay, it might have been.
I'm just saying,
That's fair.
when you have, this is what people are not. Everybody keeps focusing on the negativity involving Carmelo Anthony. Holds the ball a little bit too long. The ball stops moving.
I'm a Melo fan.
This brother
I hear you.
is 6'8", Kerry. Skip, 6'8", 240.
Yeah.
He can pull up from 3. He can take it off the dribble. He can get to the free throw line. He can post up. He is one of the top 5 offensive players of the modern era. This dude is prolific. And he not only could do what he does, but he could sit there and say, LeBron, take a break. I got this for the next 5-10 minutes. And that means everything to LeBron because it's an extension of his career.
If, in fact, Melo winds up with LeBron next year and back to the San Antonio series, they still need some big people.
I know that.
They're going to have to add some.
But of course, you're going to add that. But I'm just talking about in terms of your top 2 primary offensive options.
Okay, last quick question before we leave.
And I have a question for you, so go.
Okay, all right. You guys brought up, you and Brian Windhorst on Monday, that LeBron and company were, I don't know how you want to characterize it, a little offended by Pat Riley's State of the Union. That I took it as a challenge to LeBron, and they took it as LeBron was being called out by Pat Riley.
Right.
Okay. Now, you didn't, that wasn't your opinion. That was just what you had heard and what Brian had heard.
Right.
Okay, so you used the term a little earlier. Is this about mending fences? Well, is it? Is this meeting a little bit about let's clear the air on what I said in the State of the Union?
No, because if it were, Pat Riley would have made the call long before today.
Yeah, exactly.
It would not have waited this long.
Unless they needed to look each other in the eye.
But I'm saying he wouldn't have had the meeting. You got to remember, LeBron was just in South Beach. You see what I'm saying? So
I'm with you on this.
You got to make. Pat Riley's not going to wait to address that at your basketball camp in Vegas when you live right down the block from him. You see what I'm saying? I mean, come on now. That's just not going to happen.
Okay.
The point that I'm making is that yes, it was a challenge, and I did hear LeBron was taken aback by it. There's no question about it. But Pat Riley detailed a lot of things, and what he said wasn't false. It may have been ill-timed. It may have been somewhat inappropriate because of what's going on. But every word that came out of Pat Riley's mouth about champions staying together, and more importantly, he said something that is absolutely factual. You're going to lose again. LeBron will lose again. Everybody loses. They all do. Everybody loses. Bill Russell didn't win every year. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has 6 titles, not 20.
Yeah.
You know, Julius Erving's got 1. Jordan's got 6.
You lose.
You know, Isaiah's got 2. I mean, and Tim Duncan's got 5 along with Kobe. Shaq's got 4. Everyone loses. And so when he makes a statement like that, what he's saying is, well, are we sitting here having this conversation because we lost? Who hasn't lost? Magic Johnson lost the title 4 times.
I'm with you.
All right, so look, Skip, the question at the beginning of the debate, what do you expect will happen in this
restaurant in Miami, you know, some behind-the-scenes place
where
but
they're
in the back
think
room.
LeBron enjoys all of this. He's enjoying
He loves it. And I don't blame him for that. He should milk this for a while. I mean, it's great. It's great for us. It's fueling everything.
Listen. We have to take notes from LeBron because of the brilliance he's displayed, not just on the basketball court, but in terms of off-the-court marketing. He's doing things that most players in NBA history have never been able to pull off. And so you got to respect the game. Respect the game that he's putting on display in terms of marketing, branding, him and his whole crew with Maverick, Randy, and Rich. But in the end, let's be very, very clear. He's very, very serious about this roster. He's very, very serious. LeBron James last year, for the first time that I noticed, looked tired. That cannot happen. He can't. He's 30 years old. You cannot have this man, this physical specimen, because unlike Melo and the Kobes of the world, even though his perimeter game has improved year in and year out, let's face reality. LeBron James is the physical specimen that he is because he's a physical specimen. The minute he loses that potency, all of a sudden,
Yeah,
you'll start noticing the decline.
I hear what you say, but last quick point, LeBron had to learn that lesson himself, because there were a lot of times when Spo wanted to take him out,
That's
LeBron
right.
said, I got this.
That's right, and he knows that, and his crew has told him that.
Okay.
All right, so last night, LeBron James and Dwayne Wade had dinner in Vegas, maybe went to a nightclub, listened to some music. We talk about the Wade factor.
They drank water, by the way. They drank water.
They had water.
No alcohol.
We talked about Chris Bosh. What about the D-Wade factor? That's coming up a little later on in the show, but when we return from break, this is kind of interesting.